the Thorn to help him out a little bit, it would look much better. But yeah, I really just feel like this Freya is not cutting it.
Yeah, and here we are looking towards the next match that we have here between these teams. Here is going to be YoungSung, the victor of the series against Space Station Gaming earlier today, making pretty easy work of them, is going to up against Entropy.
Man, easy segue. Entropy, I was just talking about him.
Yeah.
Here they are. Let's see if they can do it against YoungSung. YoungSung, they looked incredibly good this morning. I'm excited to see what comps they run. Of course, this isn't SSG, so I'm not sure they'll commit to that double support comp that they did earlier.
Yeah.
I think they might break out of the box a little bit, bring something new to the table. And Entropy, of course, they were playing that Thorn Alicia. I'm excited to see what both of these teams draft.
What are the go-tos maybe for the members of YoungSung when they aren't committing to the Uldur Ulrich composition?
When they aren't?
When they aren't, yeah. When they aren't committing to the double support.
So one of the coolest things about this team is that they're all such great players, they can pretty much play anything.
Okay.
I've seen Ninjas play an incredible ranged, though we've seen him play Ulrich all of the games in BPL. He plays an amazing Jumong. He plays a really, really good Destiny. Jeter, of course, playing on the Ulrich can flex to Bako. Jeter, the OG Croak main in North America. There's just so much this team can do. It makes the draft phase so dynamic.
I'll tell you this much, I'm down for a Croak whenever we can possibly get it. We were able to get one from them before. I would be down to be able to get another here from the team. Opens with the Uldur, so there's a chance.
Yes, this Uldur makes sense. It tells me that they're either going to run Ulrich or Croak. You need a character with self-sustain to pair with the Uldur, as I mentioned earlier. That's kind of like my Uldur point. You got to have somebody that heals with the Uldur because he's not going to do enough healing by himself.
Yeah.
Jeter, I feel like he'll be playing a lot of Uldur moving further into the BPL. He's really comfortable on the character. The character is very self-sustaining, and it allows him to play that captain role. We see the Uldur often sitting back, throwing out the chrono fluxes, and playing safe. And it's really fitting for the captain to be able to play like that. They do pair it with the Ulrich, so now but they picked the Ulrich first. Earlier on today, they picked the Bako first.
Yeah.
So this makes me think maybe there will be a Croak. They might mix up that Bako pick, Rare Peep kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
On the other side, Entropy running with what they ran earlier, which it makes sense. They're going to run the Alicia Thorn, as they didn't have too much success with the Jade Shifu, or the Jade Raigon last week. So I'm really excited for this last pick of YoungSung. Give me the Croak.
I'm hoping it's the Croak.
Hey!
It's going to be the Croak. And
Hey!
in fact, I feel like Croak actually does pretty well with the double spacebar into Alicia and Thorn, because Thorn, typically, he's got so much crowd control that eventually he's going to drop an iframe out of you if he's heavily focusing onto you. And Alicia's slow, being able to enable that as a melee, it's a pretty hard time, but Croak is one of the highest mobility melees that probably exists. His ins and outs are very kind of, if they're well-timed, it's very difficult to kind of keep track of him. And so I feel like it's normally when you'd be like, oh, the melee on these two, here comes the crowd control, you're going to have a hard time. Croak goes, nope, I'm jumping around, I'm going to be a problem.
Yeah, we've all had a game against Croak where the Croak is the last man standing on the enemy team, and he runs away for 45 seconds. Croak is just so incredibly mobile. He's pretty hard to pin down. And when you pair his healing on Toxin with the M2s from both Uldur and Ulrich, you're not killing this Croak.
Yeah.
Don't bother. Man, that is a pretty heavy swing in terms of the predictions.
Man, I want to know. Battlerite-wise, if he has much of an adjustment running a Croak with a double support compared to the standard. Just when looking at Croak, because a lot of Croak's Battlerites are actually defensive.
Yeah,
right?
do you bother taking that double healing on M2? That's one thing I'm thinking a lot about.
Yeah.
Because we see a lot of Croaks take that when they land the M2, the Toxic Spit. It heals them for 12 instead of 6. I think it's unlikely that we see that simply because there's 2 healers.
But on the same note, the more kind of youthful Battlerite, if you will, with the damage reduction outside of camo, would gain a mass amount of value.
Yeah, I'm sure you still take that. I'm pretty sure there's like no way you don't take that Battleright.
Well, I'm just saying that it gets amplified when you have a double support on your team with your at maximum HP. When you reduce the damage coming in and that cycle it like that, it means reduce the damage for 30 seconds, then double support in the downtime with not even considering the rest of his kit, and then back cycling with that stun onto the camo.
How do you kill him, Dreadnought?
The answer is you don't.
You don't.
You, in fact, ignore him and hope you get on the Uldur without a spacebar.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm interested to see how Rare Peep does against his backline, too. You know, Rare Peep, a very, very capable Croak player. And he has a pretty good matchup against the Pestilus. You know, he has a lot of abilities to dodge the fear that Pestilus brings to the table, and he can really dish out a lot of damage very quickly. Inflamed is going to have to play very safely.
Yeah, and one thing that also Croak might be able to kind of force out when looking at the Pestilus is that Infest. And if you end up dropping that Infest, too soon, even if you have a well-timed queen or even spec into the moving queen, it's still very easy for Croak to track you down. He's that high mobility melee. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, as we've got the action here between the two teams. But on the other side of the table, we got trees on his Thorn.
We got trees on trees.
That was nasty what we got from him in his first series against Space Station today.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, not them against Space Station. Excuse me. For who did we see them against? D-Wizzle's squad.
Yeah, Excel Wizards.
There we go.
We did it.
Yeah, he got the 100-0 on D-Wizzle in that corner.
Yep.
On Thorn single-handedly. It was insane.
Yeah, man. We'll see how he does here. Of course, this is a different team. This is not Excel Wizards. This is YoungSung. This is the
team that is upsetting everyone right now.
The new era Titan, as I'm going to start calling them. These guys have looked incredibly dominant, and they're running their signature double support comp. This is going to be very, very difficult.
Crowd's hyped. I'm hyped. Fans at home are hyped.
I like this map pick for this Croak too. There's lots of walls, easily accessible for him to jump over. He can really fade in and out of the battle as quickly as he wants to, and he's going to be so tanky, going to be so hard to pin down. And even if you do pin him down for just a second, that frog leap over a wall, he's not going to care.
Frog leap, one of the more interesting spells, I think, that exists within Battlerite itself, not only because of the multiple uses within a small time frame, but more importantly, that small cone, and then that it's not fully adjustable when it comes to the distance. You have to jump a certain distance, but you can only jump so far, and then being able to land that small kind of cone in the landing space. We'll see how much we're going to see, Rare Peep there on that Croak, able to hit those in this game so far. For now, Petrify going to drop.
The big burst damage immediately onto this Thorn off the Petrify. He doesn't have enough energy for the Barbed Husk. His Burrow finally becomes available, but man, the damage has been done.
Orb control going to go in favor of YoungSung.
Wow,
Incap goes down with that with the shield damage. Hole going to get thrown back, but Thorn already so low there. Trees with almost no recovery. The old Dora comes in with a quick stand. Good night.
Dreadnought.
Trees.
What's happening?
Has leaves is just on fire in the wrong way this time. He is burning to the ground. YoungSung. Just disgusting opener there with that Croak.
The tree has been chopped down by that frog leap, cutting him to pieces. And man, this is YoungSung. This is what they do. One mistake made by Trees early on. He didn't have that burrow. They knew he didn't have energy for Barbed Husk. They just hard commit. Throw 3 characters down onto that Thorn, and the burst damage that comes out of just like M1s and simple abilities, not even big energy abilities, is massive. They burst him down to half within like 15 seconds of the round starting. Interesting. Rare Peep did still take the healing.
I was
on him
actually just studying those. I was like, what build did he actually go? So not the healing on the spacebar, instead the bonus damage there onto his spacebar, and then but he did commit to that healing.
Yeah.
I was watching a lot of the trades that he was able to get in the last fight, and it did seem like he was very self-sufficient, not demanding too much there out of that old door. Jeter taking a bit of pressure for now under the hero, and Trees moving up, and a 2-man stun coming out from Ninjas, and the setup here from the team just easily trading there into the Thorn, dropping now the blind. Entangling Roots buys time, but this is Entropy already on the back foot.
Yeah, the orb is secured by Entropy, however, that helps him out quite a bit, but the damage coming onto this Thorn is still absolutely massive. The in-cap from the ulti throw from Ninjas too, and he's just getting ruined.
Great job there from the members of YoungSung, getting that burst damage, even using the Oldura ult to dodge the back end there of the Elysia damage. Ninja's falling extremely low, got the reset onto the spacebar, not going to get the turn and the stun onto Pestilus. Amazing job there with his R-use to be able to dodge the one fear and then end up dodging out the second half of that fear. And with that, comes back in, joins the squad, and locks it down. YoungSung up 2-0.
Yeah, gonna finally take down Inflamed, and these punishes are immediate and they're massive. Trees just getting ruined early on because of one missed cooldown, and YoungSung doing a great job capitalizing. These guys playing so tight as a unit. I said it during week 1. You can really see how close knit of a group these guys are when they play together. They punish together. You can tell they're communicating well simply by how well they punish together. And man, watching these guys play is just such a treat.
I'm trying to already now, assuming that this game, because I feel like I haven't seen anything that's going to justify these rounds are going to break in a different manner. It's just been an absolute slaughterhouse with the kind of outplay on the side of on YoungSung. So what is maybe something that Entropy can rely on? I feel like immediately Entangling Roots, good to buy out that time, that stun pressure.
Yeah. But
is there something else on their squad? I mean, maybe an Ice Barrier or Ice Block?
These Pestilus panics need to be on point, as do the Entangling Roots. We see it here. The Entangling Roots going to slow down the Older and allow some damage to come out, but the panic doesn't land, and now Rare Peep just fighting in, staying in this backline, creating a lot of pressure. And man, this Pestilus, he's now getting ran at by Ninjas too.
Yeah, but even there with the Infest drop down and his E, and no escapes still going to remain there for Inflamed, he was able to get the body block out with Trees and taking a lot of damage for him. Nice 2-man proc there onto the ultimate, forcing out not only the Barb Husk, but that Ice Block. Now no defensives remaining there. Pestilus trying to kite out. He's going to get stunned, and Jeter says thank you with a nice follow-up on that E.
Yeah, the Petrify going to come out on Trees too to ensure that no damage can be done. YoungSung securing the second orb, their first of the round. In-cap going to come out. Let's look for a combo. Another in-cap on the other side. Everything just being thrown at Entropy. They're inevitably going to fall.
I love playing a minigame with Ulrichs after, you know, the end of the round with the success of the fight right there. And just you ask yourself, how many stuns can I get how fast at the very end? Like, you know, we got 2 very quick in succession because that is a lot of where this punishment is coming from. It's not just the prep of like, oh, here's a camo crow coming in, or that major, here's the deceit use, right? Where here's the in cap, now we swap targets on the stun, get the one shot while somebody's in capped. It very much is a lot of this on Ninja's using, I feel like, his double stun with the spacebar, using that Battlerite to get that healing reduction as well on top of it. Everything on the side of YoungSung, when they use this double support, they are using the Ulrich very, very in your face.
Yeah, absolutely. Playing very aggressively, as Ninjas does on these melee supports. We've seen him do it on Sirius, and we see him do it on Ulrich. This time, however, things aren't going to go nearly as well for Unsung as a panic comes out onto Jeter and an entangling roots hits Ninjas, but the Petrify is the answer, and now the burst damage onto the Alicia is pretty massive.
It's doing pretty good for now. Full orb, going to be picked up by Entropy. A little bit more going over in their favor for now. Blind actually going to be used there by Rare Peep, landing onto trees. Not going to gain too much as we see the ultimate coming out from Pestilus. His team in the way, going to make it difficult to hit too many there. Uldur ult as a response, then leads to the Thorn ultimate as well, throwing it back here. The team's kind of clashing between the two, but for now, YoungSung holding their own.
Yeah, Ninja's dealing so much damage on this backline, not allowing them to connect with the hero. He has to play pretty safely. He's here with Inflamed, but Inflamed is just getting tunneled now. The Barbed Husk is available. It mitigates a lot of damage, but still the damage is being piled on. He has to invest away. He finally has it, but the Cleave M1 from Ninjas is going to clean him up.
Yeah, the Eldora ultimate there as well to make sure that there's no possibility to end that. Man, talk about a pain train there with the last use of the ultimates there on the side of YoungSung. And with that, it's going to be a 4-0 match point.
Yeah, man, these last 2 games have been incredibly quick. We're quickly learning who the best teams in this this bracket are. YoungSung looking so unstoppable, not even looking like they're going to drop around.
I mean, you beat Space Station Gaming once. Okay, you beat them twice at this point. I mean, you are projected to be the best within at least your group, right? I mean, and they're making it look that way. Absolute domination here from YoungSung. And to be honest with you, I am a... when looking at the entirety of, you know, kind of esports in general, especially those teams that you expect to be favored, it feels like whenever they're against people that are quote-unquote worse or, you know, a lesser skilled team, it feels like they're able to kind of take breaks and have moments of lapse of judgment. When we see domination like this from YoungSung, it brings a nice cheer to my heart to see that never taking an opponent lightly, right? And just always having that cutthroat mentality to execute perfectly.
Yeah, the only chill in this game is going to be applied by Alicia. There's none coming from YoungSung as they're just not letting up. And the aggression on the Thorn here is very emblematic of the way they've been playing. The in cap going to come out is going to be broken by the M2 from Rare Peep. Not quite the big combo we generally see from YoungSung, but still. Looking pretty favored here.
Yeah, Deceive was going to get used and actually got the last auto onto the Queen to make sure he would still keep that second half of that stun. The Alicia ultimate going to be used, but after falling so low, the damage is going to be there. Entropy has the opportunity with that Scarab, but there goes that in cap, and there goes the turn now on to Pestilus. Burns the infest, no escapes left.
Ooh, a nice bubble placement from Jeter actually moves him a little bit. He doesn't use the bubble to reflect anything from trees, but rather just to move himself, similar to how we see Pearl move herself with her bubbles. Gonna keep him alive so that Dead Roots isn't gonna get the damage it needed. Now Inflamed, gonna get popped.
Barbed Husk going to be used, and there we get the WSD dance there from trees as YoungSung look in dominant fashion, 5-0, take the victory over Entropy. And at this point, now look like they are the best in North America. And I know that's a bold statement because of how long Space Station Gaming has been holding around, but it's a fool me once, fool me can't get fooled again type situation here.
Yeah, absolutely. They're looking so incredibly good. I'm feeling very confident in these guys' chances of being first seed. You know, I'm not sure what can be done to stop these guys. I think the match to look out for moving on into this playoffs when we get closer is going to be seeing how Fable faces off versus YoungSung. It's a shame to see these guys in different groups because I really want to see them play.
Is there anything compositionally that you immediately go, I would like to see a team look towards this because of that double support?
Burst.
Just a raw burst.
You need the burst. You need to get through that true HP. And
I agree.
I think you need something like the Rook or like the Shifu with the 4-stack M2, even though it didn't work out for Proster. You need to be able to chunk through at least 40 HP so they can't heal back up to full because they simply have 2 supports. They have a lot of healing, right? So you need to put them at a point where they're so low they can't heal up to where they need to be to initiate on their melee. And for something like that, I think you need like a Rook.
Yeah, and you know, even conversely, as we take a look at, you know, some of the plays or some of the things here from the side of YoungSung that we got over that last match, that we see with that kind of mentality, with the focusing onto the burst, another mentality that you could make an argument for is, well, then out-sustain it, because some supports, a majority of supports have cooldowns within their healing capabilities, right? Like other than Palomas and Pestilus, where you have that kind of auto opportunity to get that heal, you only have a few cooldowns, so maybe you can out-sustain past that point. But because everything in this game, absolutely everything is a skill shot, sustained DPS is not as sustained as your average video game, right? Sustained DPS is debatably non-existent because you have to hit everything. And so it makes that burst, in my opinion, with that kind of logic in line, even that much more valuable considering the trade-off within the healing. And I agree, I would like to see more people focusing on trying to make that happen here. But even with that, most burst comes with Wombo, and that usually is pretty easily kind of conveyed information on how to deal with that. So it's going to be a doozy. Who will have the tools to be able to deal with YoungSung moving forward?
Yeah, man, we'll see. But for now, these guys look unstoppable. For the near future, I don't see anybody solving the YoungSung puzzle. These guys look pretty good.
Yeah, they do look pretty good. And now we're going to check in with the standings here to see where everybody is kind of finding